Hello and welcome to Law Talk. My name is Mitch Panter and I'm your host. Let me tell you historically what Law Talk is all about. So I've been a lawyer now. I've been talking to Bob about this for 36 years, and probably about 5-6 years into it, my brother Brett Panter, who's my current partner at Panter Panter and Sampedro, and I wanted to do something to help the community. So we decided to put on a show called Law Talk. And what we did was we had lawyers and judges and politicians and people in the community come onto the show and talk a little bit about what they do and how they help our community. We had the mayor at the time, we had the state attorney at the time, and they would tell us and tell the audience what they're doing to help the community. And it was our goal and aspirations to be able to educate people. Fast forward 30-something years now, and we're still at it. We're at it again. About 10, 12 years ago, we formed the Panter Panter and Sampedro Network. And again, our goal was to help the community. Our law firm is a law firm dedicated to protecting Florida's families, and we do that by representing people injured due to the negligence of others in personal injury, medical malpractice, product liability, cases of that nature. But because we do quite a bit of advertising, we also got calls all the time for other types of law, whether it be criminal, whether it be domestic relations, whether it be real estate or probate. And we didn't ever want to say, no, I don't do that. What we wanted to say was, hold on, we have somebody that can do it and can help you. A qualified, skilled, competent, board certified in a lot of circumstances lawyer that can do whatever kind of law you need to have done. So we sent out a flyer. We got a bunch of lawyers that did a bunch of different areas of law. And today we have the Panter Panter and Sampedro Network. We have more than 150 members in Dade County and about 50 members in Broward County. And again, our goal is to provide our community, our people that call and rely upon us for legal advice with whatever kind of help they need. Fast forward to today. What we're doing today is we're going to talk a little bit about criminal law, and we're very privileged, and I'm very pleased to have a good long-term friend, Bob Amsel, with us. Bob, say hello and introduce yourself to our members.
Hello there, Bob Amsel, criminal defense lawyer.
And what does that mean? What's a criminal defense lawyer? Tell us what you are and how you came about.
Yes, well, a criminal defense lawyer is probably the most essential role in the criminal justice system, because if you think about it, you've got a judge who's the referee, you've got a prosecutor who is prosecuting the case, and there's only one person standing up for the defendant. There's only one person defending the Constitution. There's only one person at courtroom making sure all the laws apply and are fair to a defendant. That's a criminal defense lawyer, and I love what I do.
Tell us a little bit about your history. Where'd you come from? Where'd you grow up? Where'd you go to school? And how'd you get to your first job?
Yeah, well, I'm a New York City Bronx boy, and I moved here when I was 15 years old. Went to high school, graduated from South Broward High School, Broward County. And when I was a senior in high school, my dad said, son, we love you. Your mother and I, we're always here for you. But this college business, you got to figure it out yourself. So I went to Miami-Dade Community College. Finished there, went to University of Florida for my undergrad, and I was a musician my whole life, played drums. I still do.
We're going to talk about that in a little while.
Okay. And I'm a senior in college, and I'm saying to myself, Bob, are you really going to be a drummer? I mean, is this what you want to do? Because unless the Stones or Bruce Springsteen are calling, you're not going to be doing very well. Tough life. What can you do? Well, you can communicate, you can talk. Maybe you should be a lawyer. And it was that kind of thing. It was kind of organic. All right, I'll just take the LSATs and see how I do. I did. And was accepted to NYU, UCLA, and Miami. So do I
made the right choice?
Well, do I go back home to New York? Do I go out to the new frontier, or do I like Miami? I like Miami. So I went to University of Miami Law School, graduated there in 1982. And the rest is, as I say, history.
So I know that while in law school, my third year, I did what's called an internship, and I was able to clerk with the state attorney's office, and I learned a little bit about prosecuting cases.
Right.
Did you do any of that in law school? Clerking, working jobs in the criminal field?
Yes.
What'd you do?
Yes. My first clerking job was with the U.S. Attorney's Office here in Miami in the appellate section. So here I'm reading transcripts of trials, mostly drug trials back then.
Right. That was the time.
Yeah. And each transcript was like a script. I said, this is like a movie. Is this stuff really happening? And so I got interested. And I recall, how you remember certain things, they stick out like an epiphany. I'm sitting in the law library next to my buddy Benji Waxman, a very fine appellate lawyer, still practices today. And he says, "Hey, Bob, I clerk for a guy named Joel Hirschhorn, and they're looking for a new clerk. Would you like to apply?" I said, "Joel who? I never heard of him." I said, "Sure." And I did. I got the job. I clerked for Joel Hirschhorn in 1980, I want to say. And it was a fascinating practice. I mean, his grandpa would be in the corner of the conference room counting the cash that he got as legal fees, drug cases, pornography cases, just wild stuff. And at that time, some listeners may recall, U.S. District Court Judge Alcee Hastings, later became a congressman,
Sure.
Was indicted and was being charged with taking a bribe, and Joel was his criminal defense lawyer. So here I am sitting with Joel Hirschhorn, Alcee Hastings, and me, the clerk.
And to be exposed to these kind of people at this level at your early in your career has got to be phenomenal.
I remember driving home, said, "It's not going to get more exciting than this. Is what I want to do." And I took the bar, and through relationships, and I find that relationships are the key to success in any business, certainly has been in mine. Due to relationships I developed, I got a job with probably at the time the premier criminal defense law firm. Weiner, Robbins, Tunke, and Ross was the name of it. Great trial lawyers. And I started there in 1982. That was 40 years ago. And I'm still at it, still going to the same building, to the same office today.
All right, so let's talk about the nickname that he used to have was Diamond Joel. I remember that because he used to wear a big diamond ring because back in the day when you did criminal defense work, it was a different world, different environment. Tell us about those first few years out practicing doing drug defense and other types of cases that you did. What was the world like back then in terms of the criminal world and handling cases? How was that all?
Oh, it's fascinating. First of all, there were no cell phones. There were no computers. I remember the first big cell phones with those walkie-talkie types. That was right around when that was coming out. And the practice was different. In the criminal justice system, especially in the federal court system, starting in about 86, I think, it was a thing called the Federal Sentencing Guidelines that came out.
What's that?
That is a set of laws that restricts judges in terms of what kinds of sentences they can impose if someone pleads guilty or is found guilty. Prior to that implementation of the guidelines in 82, when I started, judges weren't constricted. More people went to trial.
Okay.
And also the kinds of cases we had back then were 70% at least drug-related cases, big drug importations, cartel members, and the cases were spread out all over the United States. So I had an opportunity to try cases in front of a jury. Those are jury trials all over the United States. And it was fascinating. We had a little private airplane. I know your brother's a pilot.
Sure.
But we had our own pilot. Ralph Hughes was his name, I remember. It was a little Cessna single engine. I would go up in that plane and go, "Oh my God.
Let's make it down."
I mean, I'm Jewish, but I was doing this, with the cross, just like, thank God I made it. And we would go to these little towns, appear in front of these judges, get back in the plane and fly back.
Well, I remember growing up in that era too, and the pendulum. There was a point in time where it was all about prosecuting and putting them in jail.
Yeah.
Then there was a time about criminal rights, and it was all about making sure they got a fair trial. And that pendulum over my 30-something year career switched back and forth. Fast forward. Where are we now with that? You don't hear that much about the drug trials. You don't hear about the drugs being brought in as much. How has that affected the criminal law world?
Yeah, I think we are on a leftward swing right now, believe it or not, in the criminal justice system. This war on drugs that was declared by, I think Nixon started it and Reagan really perfected it.
Right.
It was a great political move, anti-crime. Right. I think the momentum has now shifted the other way because there are far too many people incarcerated in the United States. I think we have 25% of the world's population that are in jail are the United States. And we are, we are 5% of the world's population. We have 25% of the world's prisoners in our prisons.
Wow.
So it has become an industry as well. So there is a move to lessen the minimum mandatory or eliminate a lot of the minimum mandatory sentences that put people in jail unnecessarily for long periods of time.
Well, but in your age, there was the marijuana and cocaine were big, and they were really punishing people harsh. Now we've got this big push towards legalizing or decriminalizing marijuana.
Correct.
How is that affecting your industry?
Well, obviously, there are very few possession of marijuana cases around to defend because there's not prosecuting them. Also, the drug business, so to speak,
Right.
Probably as much drugs or more are coming into the United States, but they're coming in and they're not being caught. Or when they are being intercepted, nobody big is being arrested.
I saw the other day there was one big, you see periodically up to
Yeah.
$2 billion or huge amounts,
Right.
but you don't see the dribs and drabs that we used to see all the time.
And what you don't see is the owners of those drugs
Right.
being prosecuted because they insulate themselves so well now that the only people arrested are the workers.
Well, back in the day, we had the top names, the big guys,
Oh, yeah.
and you heard all about those names, and the Chapos and the
Pablo Escobar,
all those guys.
Yeah.
That was in the era where you were defending.
Yeah, yeah.
Did you have those? And you probably didn't have Pablo or Escobar, those kind of people, but down the road, a few of those people.
No, I represented a lot of people in the Ochoa family. How that happened,
Right.
Maybe I represented one and I represented another. And I recall back in the day, this is how things worked back then. This is before money laundering laws were even
Right.
passed. We didn't have money laundering laws till the mid 80s.
Okay.
And
what's that? What are money laundering laws?
money laundering laws are laws that prohibit individuals from basically handling or transferring funds that are derived from illegal activities.
Okay.
And I recall vividly 2 young members of the Ochoa group getting arrested in New Orleans. And I got a phone call. We need you to represent these people. All right, what are their bonds? Their bonds, $250,000 each. Okay, no problem. Within an hour, someone walked in my office with a cardboard box, literally, with $500,000 in cash.
Okay.
Cash. Oh, we transported the money to New Orleans, posted the bond. The 2 Colombians came out. How this happened, I don't know. They ran away.
Right.
This little parish in Louisiana was the happiest. They got $500,000 cash.
And the guys ran away.
And the guys ran away, but they were thrilled because they used the money to buy new police cars and
But let me ask the important
radios.
question there.
Mm,
I did a little bit of criminal law, not to the extent that you did, obviously. And
Yes.
and I always get asked the question, how do you sleep at night? How do you, as the lawyer, knowing what happened, knowing that you're getting these bad guys off and out?
Right.
I mean, and the answer that I always hear is everybody has a right to a fair trial. So how do you've been doing it 40 plus years.
Yeah.
How do you justify your sometimes helping bad people get away with stuff?
I sleep very well given what I do. Yes, you're right. What I do is represent anyone accused of criminal activity. And I have the Constitution on my side. I have my oath as a lawyer. This is what I was sworn to do. And I'm really, really proud to do it. Rarely. The reality is now the next question is, how do I do this on a personal level? First of all, a lot of lawyers can't do it. They don't have the stomach for it, which is great. Less competition for me.
Exactly.
Okay. But most of the people I represent, really, they're generally nice folks who either made a mistake, got greedy, got involved in the wrong business. Rarely do I represent a truly evil person. And I represent these people, and they have wives, and they have children, and families. So it becomes easier to defend them.
Well, let me ask the important question. Do you ask them, or do they tell you, yeah, I did it? Do you need to know, are you guilty?
I am of the belief that I want to know everything. My client knows more about the case than anybody else. And I have the benefit of the attorney-client relationship, the attorney-client privilege.
Go off on that. What's that? What's the
Yeah.
attorney-client privilege?
Sure. When I'm speaking to a client alone with no one else in the room or on the phone, just the 2 of us.
And this is a client, somebody that's retained you and hired you. And
well, they don't even have to, as long as they're consulting with
Okay.
me. There's no magic. You have to give you $1.
there's
or
not.
something.
Okay.
No.
But there always was. Okay.
Those conversations are privileged. And we can talk about any prior criminal activity committed by
Prior being that important word.
That's right.
Okay.
Now, if a client were to sit down and tell me during an attorney-client privilege conversation that he intends to commit a crime, I stop him and say, "Oh, we're not going to discuss you committing a crime in the future, because if you insist on doing that, I have to report you.
Okay.
And I'm sure you're not going to commit a crime. And I would strongly advise you not to commit any crimes from this point forward. But let's talk about backwards."
Okay.
They could tell me anything.
And it can't be used against them. It can't be used against you. There's no problems with that.
Absolutely not. In fact, I would lose my license to practice law if I divulged what I learned during an attorney-client privilege communication. I had 2 young men come in and describe their involvement in a homicide years ago. And they said they haven't been caught. What do we do? I said, there's nothing to do. Just here's my card. I would advise you, if the police come to speak to you, that you invoke your right to remain silent and call me. I never heard from them.
Let's talk about that. That's really important.
Sure.
The invoke your right to remain silent. What's the origin of that? How does that work in the real world? And what would you tell people about that?
Sure. Well, there's a Fifth Amendment of the United States Constitution that says that nobody can be compelled to speak against themselves. You have a right to remain silent. And that constitutional provision was highlighted in a case called Miranda in the 60s. U.S. Supreme Court issued a decision mandating that prior to a suspect being questioned when in custody, those are the 2 linchpins. They have to be in custody,
okay,
and they have to be subject to questioning.
When are you in custody?
When you're not free to leave, when you're not free to go. You don't have to have cuffs on your hands. If a cop tells you you're not going anywhere, you're effectively in custody for Miranda purposes.
Okay.
If the officer wants to question you at that point, it must be preceded by Miranda warnings. And we've all heard it in the movies. You have a right to remain silent. Right. You have a right to an attorney. Anything you say could be used against you in a court of law. Knowing these rights, are you willing to speak to me? Yes or no?
And your advice?
My advice is always, most respectfully, I decline to speak until I consult with a lawyer.
Okay.
And that's really a lot of what I do today. I do a lot of white collar work.
What's that mean?
It means
your collar's
types
white.
of, right, there you go. Types of crime, financial crimes, okay, institutions, not drug related, not violence. It's usually greed related. Someone's stealing something, someone's laundering money, someone's bribing somebody else.
Medicare fraud, I think, is one of the issues you deal a lot with.
Medicare fraud, a very popular fraud that's going to be keeping defense lawyers busy for years, is PPP fraud. That is individuals and entities applying and receiving these PPP loans,
right, that
were the COVID related loans. They estimate that the amount of fraud in PPP loans tops $100 billion. Wow. With a B.
So this is all these business people, myself included, and I don't know if your business did as well, but the government offered money to
Correct.
help support the economy, to help us keep workers employed, and it was a good intent. But anytime you have something good, you got bad people take advantage of it. And you're saying that that's going to be around for a while now as it comes through the cycle.
Yes, the government is now starting to scrutinize
those loans.
They already have been prosecuting the low-hanging fruit, the obvious ones. But now they're going to start digging deeper. And, a company that got $100 million PPP loan, they're going to scrutinize the application. They're going to scrutinize the forgiveness application. They're going to scrutinize whether the company needed it in the first place, whether the company applied the funds correctly.
And I presume there are federal and other laws in play that are going to be used to enforce make sure that those are.
Yeah.
All right, let me bring you fast forward to today, COVID.
Yeah.
How has COVID affected your day-to-day practice, the criminal law practice? I mean, are there jury trials? Are people getting the right to go to trial? What happens to the criminals? Did they sit in jail waiting? What's going on?
I actually tried 2 jury trials, one this summer and one in December during COVID. But generally speaking, when COVID was really hitting, nobody was in person. Everything was on Zoom. And because you constitutionally are entitled to physically confront your witnesses in criminal cases.
Right.
Civil is different.
Correct.
But in criminal cases, criminal trials, full-blown jury trials, could not be done on Zoom.
All right,
And
so you got that. Plus, also you have the right to not be remaining in jail pending all this stuff. What did you
Correct.
do?
Well, there was a big backlog.
Yeah.
A lot of judges were reconsidering bonds. People who had no bond, they would come to the court and say, look, I could be sitting here for 2 more years and I'm not really a flight risk or a danger. Give me a bond. So there's compassionate releases. And even
what's bond?
Bond is a monetary requirement that you have to post or place money in the hands of the clerk of court, X number of dollars set by the court, in return for which you're released pending the trial.
Got it.
So a lot of people were getting out of jail. Some people who were actually sentenced, especially in the federal system, their sentences were being cut short permanently by judges so that the jails won't be as full with, given the COVID problems.
Sure.
And how it's changed the practice now
Yeah.
is, to this day, many hearings are held on Zoom, and it's much more convenient for all the parties. In fact, when we're done right now, I got a Zoom call, a Zoom hearing that I have to get
your
on.
Courthouse open? I know ours is civil courthouse comes on sometimes open, sometimes not.
Yeah.
Criminal courthouse open?
Criminal courthouse is open, and as of Friday, this past Friday, the administrative judge in the criminal division issued a letter and an email basically saying that masks are now voluntary. There's not mandatory.
Got jury trials going on?
Now we've got jury trials going on, and we are back.
Okay.
But having said that, I have found that for me, working from home, I'm there probably 90% of the time now. At home, able to do everything I do as a lawyer. And the only time I go in the office is when I need to see a client or I just want to see what's going on.
How about going over to the jail or the prisons to see your clients? Are you able to do that?
Yep.
Okay. Those are open.
They're open.
Okay.
Open and available. So we're getting back to normal.
We're getting close to the end, and I really want to touch on this because I know you're into this. Music. How has music played a role in your life?
I've been playing drums since I'm 12 years old.
Right. And you're good.
Well,
I'll tell you, you're good. We've heard you. We've seen you. All the lawyer events, you get out there and you jam out.
I've played professionally my whole life, between 2000 and 2015. While I'm a father, a husband, a lawyer, I traveled all over the country with Albert Castiglia, who was a great blues guitarist and singer. I was his drummer. We had a lot of fun. I continue to do it. And there's a lot of parallels between being a trial lawyer and a musician. As a musician, you have a general idea of what the song is. You have chord changes, but you have to be able to pivot on the bandstand and react and respond to what another musician is doing. And there's a bit of improvisation going on, very similar to being a trial lawyer. You generally know how your trial is going to go. You have a general outline, but if you're to be an effective trial lawyer, you need to be able to pivot on the spot.
You got an audience.
You have an audience.
That's making life and death sometimes decisions for your clients.
Correct. It's a captive audience. They have to sit there, and unlike a club where if they don't like you, they can walk out. The jury's got to sit there. So it's show business.
Right.
Anyone who tells you being a trial lawyer does not involve show business, you know what I mean by show business.
You got producing, you got directing, you've got acting, you've got all of those functions of a Broadway show, or a concert.
Correct.
Yeah. So
the parallels are really great, and to this day I continue to play. I play with a woman named Rochelle Koba, and we played last week in Boca on Wednesday night and Saturday night at the Fish House. So I'm still playing. I'm around town.
Is that your second life? That's what you're going to do? That's what you're going to do when you're done?
I've always done it, and maybe I'll start to shift more to that. Not that I could really make a living off that, of course.
Sure. So we're winding up now. How do people reach you, and what are the kinds of cases or issues that they would that you would like to get from them?
Sure. The kinds of cases I handle are criminal cases. That is either in the state court system or the federal system.
All right, give us some examples of state court and some examples of federal court.
Sure. State court is usually more, they say, blue collar crime. People assault their spouse, for example, or get possession of narcotics, or
DUIs. You do
DUIs. still kind of do. I usually give it to my partner to handle, although for years I've been doing those. First degree murder, still have a couple of those on. Those are state court. Federal typically are, like I say, these white collar cases: fraud, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, where people are bribing foreign governments to get contracts, money laundering, securities fraud, those kinds of things. And a lot of my work are people who are contacted, legitimate folks or somewhat legitimate people, business people. An FBI agent comes to their office. Hey, we want to speak to you. Smartest thing you can do when that happens, be nice. May I have your card, please? Love to talk to you, but I need to talk to a lawyer. I get a phone call, and those cases are perfect, because the earlier during the investigation I can insert myself into the situation, the more effective I become.
Right.
Once someone's already indicted, it's a little bit tougher.
So helpful advice, helpful hints. When comes to your door, what do you do? Call Bob.
Call Bob.
And I know I have you on my speed dial just in case.
Right.
And it's a wonderful thing. What's your number? What's your contact information?
Oh, sure. You don't know. I freely give out my cell phone number these days. 305-987-5660. 305-987-5660.
Where's your office?
I pick up the phone. It's on Southwest 3rd Avenue in the Rhodes section of Miami. Okay. Been there for 40 years.
Website,
still there.
Email, what's your contact?
Crimlawfirm.com. Crimlawfirm, all one word.com.
Okay. Bob, it's been a pleasure having you today.
Thank you for having me.
Tell anybody, I've known Bob Amsel for many, many years. He's part of our network. He's a skilled, qualified, competent, really great criminal lawyer. Before you speak to the police, speak to Bob. Again, I'd like to thank everybody for listening today and watching us today. We wish you health and happiness. And that's all from Law Talk for today. Thank you.